Good evening, my dears. Welcome. I'm Lady McCreepsta. I've gotten quite an influx of listener story submissions recently, and I'm very excited to read them all. I cannot guarantee that they will all be performed for this channel, but I do promise to read every single one of them. If you too have a story you'd like for me to peek at, send it to lady.mcreepsta@gmail.com. Now, on with today's tale. This one is by author PF McGrail from his book 50 Shades of Purple and Other Horror Stories. If you'd like to read more of this author's stories, pick up a copy of the book. A purchase link is in the episode description below. For now, though, my dears, come, lean in closer, and we'll begin. Annabelle, I understood just how much I loved you in our 5th year of marriage. When I walked into the kitchen for breakfast and found you sitting comfortably at the table, all of the butterflies in my stomach were gone. Those butterflies had been there every day, beginning the moment you accepted my offer of a first date. You crinkled your nose, gave a dimpled half grin, and said, "Sure." The elation I felt was so overwhelming that I actually deleted all the porn from my hard drive. A tiny voice in the back of my mind warned me of how badly you would hurt me one day. It asked me how I could ever give another human so much of my heart and still be ignorant enough to doubt how much pain would one day befall me. But I chased the butterflies. Half of the wedding photos had to be scrapped because I couldn't stop the tears of joy. The rest showed me grinning like an idiot. It took me 2 years to become aware of myself in the pictures because you were radiant. I was simply unable to notice anything other than your crinkly-nosed, half-grinning face. So, when I walked into the kitchen and didn't immediately feel my stomach doing a backflip, I was in uncharted territory. What it meant is that I had met you as a young man, but we had finally grown up. Ingraining your presence into my life had enriched my understanding of what life could be. No one gets butterflies in their gut when they wake up and find that every limb is still attached or that the sun has not burned out. We simply understand certain things to be necessary for mere existence. You were necessary for my existence. I was simply unable to conceptualize a life without you in it. You had grown around my soul, the way thick vines will intertwine themselves with one another, intermingling their flowers until the casual observer cannot distinguish where one begins and the other ends. The diagnosis was a death sentence for us both. I watched as the crinkles left your nose since you smiled less and less. The half of your lips that always grinned decided to join the half that felt nothing at all. The emptiness that was left in its stead corroded my soul. It was a sensation beyond pain. My spirit burned and crumbled, leaving ash and emptiness where existence had once flourished. We had created a young son from nothing other than our love. The prospect of sharing something so pure with a world so bleak had only seemed possible by using a mother's love as an intermediary. What fate would befall him once the universe revealed its true form? When I awoke at 7:13 p.m., you were already gone. If I'm being honest, I never really woke up either. I didn't cry because tears are an expression of a soul in pain. My soul had turned to ash, and there would be no tears to quench the burn. I can still hear your voice, telling me to love, to laugh, to live. Your spirit has survived in my heart more than my own soul has had the ability to endure. The part of your radiant spirit that has irrevocably ingrained upon mine will, in fact, prove that there is life after death. I thank you for that, because part of me is being interred with you, burned to ash, never to reform itself once more. I will always love you, Annabelle. I've written this note to slip into your pocket. Only a fool would believe in a life after this one, but only a fool would subject his heart to the devil's speculation that is love. I will give it to you, hug you one last time, then send you away with the lion's share of my soul. Be gentle with it, because what remains on earth will be forever wondering where you've gone and whether I've lived a good enough life to visit, even if just for a moment, the place where I might feel your pulse once more. Elm Grove Police Department. Evidence item number 070-420-181-913. Incident type: officer involved shooting, suicide. Coroner's conclusion: Owen, former husband of the late Annabelle, broke into Elm Grove Funeral Home on the night of July 3rd, 2018. He apparently sought out and discovered the casket containing the remains of Annabelle and lay down inside with her. The attached note was discovered next to the waiting urn. It is currently unknown why he remained hidden as the cremation process began, but it is believed that Owen had probably closed the lid to avoid detection and subsequently fell asleep. Elm Grove Funeral Home employees halted the process after screams emanated from within the crematorium. Paramedics and police were notified as employees were forced to wait for the oven to cool sufficiently enough to attempt an extraction. Upon the casket being opened, Owen was able to extricate himself, although he was in extreme medical distress. The entirety of his epidermis had been burned away, and later analysis determined that 40% of his dermis had been incinerated as well. The victim sprung forth screaming pleas at Elm Grove police officers to "fucking shoot me and end the agony if you have any part of a soul," according to footage recorded on an officer's body camera. Witnesses either were unable to react or fled the scene entirely. Owen was missing both eyelids, his left eye, both lips, both ears, and the majority of his scalp. The remnants of his clothing had become fused to the innermost layer of skin, and the victim's blood was emerging from open wounds at a temperature high enough to begin boiling when exposed to the outside world. Owen's initial attempt to steal a nearby officer's service weapon was stymied, as video evidence showed him unable to stand without falling. Retrospective analysis proves that the victim's skin would slough off his body with minimal force. As a result, every attempt to stand would simply cause the dermal layer to slide away from the muscle tissue and force an additional collapse. The victim was eventually able to reach a different police officer who remained momentarily immobile with shock. Owen grabbed for the officer's service weapon and a struggle ensued. Video evidence shows that aggressions ended when 3 of the victim's fingers were ripped away from his body, thus preventing him from restraining any control of the gun. At this point, the officer once again froze with shock, his service weapon still outstretched and pointed at the victim. Owen reached out with his still intact left hand and pulled the trigger, striking his own torso. The shot was not immediately lethal. Paramedics rushed Owen into emergency surgery, where he was pronounced dead upon arrival. Notes: Owen repeatedly screamed, "It hurts so fucking much that I wish I'd never met her," and "Lucifer, just take her soul instead of torturing mine." The victim's son witnessed both the screaming and the subsequent shooting of his father. He has not spoken a single word since the incidents. Darren is 6 years old. I hope you enjoyed that tale, my dears. Send me a message on Facebook or Twitter to let me know. I am simply Lady McCreepster on both. If you would like to support this channel, do consider becoming a member of my dark family on Patreon. As little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping me put together these episodes for you. Go to patreon.com/Lady McCreepster. That is all I have for you this evening, my dears. But please, do come back and visit me soon.